Hello, family. Welcome to Shifting in the Process podcast, where we encourage you to maximize your full potential. I'm so excited to be back today. It's exciting to be here today, to be able to have a conversation with you on process. So process is going to be the topic for today. It's something that means a lot to me because, again, process has brought a lot of results and a lot of success to my life. And so it really excites me because I know it's going to excite you because of the results that you're going to get in your life is going to be phenomenal. And I know that God is going to work in so many areas, and process is going to be one of them. So I'm super excited. So I'm going to actually share the definition of process with you. So the definition of process is a series of actions and or steps taken in order to achieve a particular end. But with process, there's really never an end because there's so many different processes, like building a house, building a relationship, marriage, pregnancy is a process as well. And also building a business is a process. And there's so many different things that you can get into and so many steps that you can take. But the first step is the fundamentals of process. And so process to me means that it's like a loading process. It's something that's loading and that it's going to take time to build, but that's okay. Because within the process, you're going to learn so many things about yourself, and you're going to learn how you've overcome so many different things with being patient. Process teaches you patience. Process teaches you to be intentional. And process teaches you to wait on things and not to rush it. I'm going to talk about why is process important. And I'd say 2 years ago is when I actually started to enjoy process. But it wasn't the first time that process was actually talked about to me. But during that time that it was talked about, again, I wasn't really paying attention, wasn't really listening because I wanted to get to the end goal faster and didn't want to wait. And so I had many conversations with my pastor about process. And one of the things that stuck out to me was process brings structure. So if a house did not have a structure, there would be no house. But because the house has a foundation and a structure, the house can hold for many years. So with process, you're actually building a structure within the situation that you're in or the season that you're in, and you're taking, let's just say you're taking a roller coaster ride for however long it needs to be for you to overcome any obstacle or any situation that you are dealing with. And the nice thing about it is that there's so many great things that come out of process, and you can learn about yourself. You can actually take a second and breathe and know that it's not a race, it's a marathon. If you didn't enjoy the process, or if there was no process, what would any successful business even be, or any successful relationship be without a process? And so that's why I believe that process is so important, because it has built a strong foundation, a strong structure in my life. Also, it has built in my faith as well with process, because within faith, you don't see anything. Nothing really happens. Nothing happens, right? So it's a process to wait. It's a process to know that you're going to believe and have an expectation that something is going to come that you have been praying for and believing for, but you have to stay firm and solid in your structural foundation of process. So the third thing I'm going to talk about is, when did I start enjoying process? Now, you can take that in two ways. You could say, how do you even enjoy process? And why would you even enjoy it in the first place? Now, again, I'm not perfect, obviously. And when I first heard of process and, my pastor was going into detail about process, I'm like, so this means that I'm going to have to sit here, I'm going to have to do the work, and I'm going to have to wait for that big moment to happen. Well, in that time frame, I really didn't want to wait in the process at all. But I had to, because within process has helped me within my personal growth. It has helped me understand patience. Like I said, it has helped me reorganize my thoughts, being more intentional about my decisions. and just being more open-minded about the process in general, because I've seen a lot of great results in other people's lives when they talk about how process has changed their lives and what it has done for them. So when I started to enjoy process was actually a year ago, because I started to see the benefits that the process has brought in my life. But not only in my life, but also in my family's life. Now, family is a different topic that we're going to talk about, but it's brought a lot of joy and a lot of structure in other people's lives. And that encouraged me. That encouraged me to stay within my process. And that's when I started to enjoy it, because I'm able to wake up each and every day to better myself in my process. But within process, there's progress. And so I know that when I'm in my process, that I'm making strides within progress. And so for me, the more progress I make, that's all that matters. As long as I'm moving forward in my process, the more I'm taking steps forward and not taking steps back, and I'm making progress within my process, to me, that's encouraging each and every day. And that's how this brand started, within progress in the process in the Shift brand. The Shift brand came from the process, and it has helped me along my journey. It just helped me change my life. God has helped me a lot with my process and guiding me and directing me where I need to go. You know, sometimes I do get off track, but he's able to put me back on track and to remind me why I started in the process in the first place, because what process has done for me has worked for me, and I know it's going to work for you. Might be in a different light or a different situation, but it's going to work for you, I promise. Process is just so important to know and to understand that it's not a bad thing. It's not something that's going to take forever. There's always going to be an end goal that you're going to hit within that process, but you're always going to be in a process, and that's going to help you build structure, and it's going to help you have a firm foundation within your lifestyle, and how you handle whatever obstacle or whatever challenge that you have. There is no way that I can't sit here and not talk about process, because it's so important and so critical within life in general. There's systems, there's operations, and there's hiring and firing. All those things have a process. And if they didn't have a process, how would anything get built? How would anything happen? How would anything get to the end goal without a process? It just wouldn't make sense not to have a process, because that's when you start jumping over things and missing steps, and then you almost get to the finish line, and all of a sudden now you got to go back to the starting line. And that's why process is so critical, because it makes things more fluent. It makes things flow the way it's supposed to flow. And it's made to just take your time. There's no reason to rush. There's no reason to rush your goals. There's no reason to rush the process. There's no reason to rush anything, because when you're in the process, everything starts to connect and everything starts to build. And what starts to build is that firm foundation within your process. So I just want to remind you today that take process seriously. Make sure on a day-to-day basis that your routine is a process. Make sure every decision, every intentional decision you make is within a process. Make sure whatever you're doing in your job, whatever you're doing in a relationship, has a process. This is to really structure your life and make things a lot easier, make things organized, make sure that you have a clear mind and a clear understanding where your next steps lie ahead. I encourage you to take these steps with you in your day-to-day life. Maybe mix them up a little bit, maybe do them your way, but make sure it's still in line with the process. So I'm super, super excited to get feedback from you and to hear how your process is going. Thank you for joining the Shifting the Process podcast. We really do appreciate you. I'm logging off. Let's go.